this war is wrong. The reasons given to go to war were a fabrication. Information that placed serious doubt about what the administration was claiming was readily available to me. I just listened to NPR, pretty mainstream stuff. So I can't buy the defense given by chicken-hearted Democrats who claim that if they had the information then, they wouldn't have voted for the war. The chicken hearts did not perform their duty as the opposition party, and look at the mess we are in today. Stopping the war does not equate to abandoning the Iraqi people.
I've been happy to support you over the years, and you called me about once a year looking for financial support each time. I'm starting to doubt my choice to do that again. I have seen I believe that your ideology has shifted since you got into office. And I don't really think that, and I guess, I mean, we're all evolving, but I really don't see your ideology as what it was when we first backed you. And that's given me cause for concern. I don't see us being able to solve a civil war that has developed, where our troops don't know who the enemy is. We've been hiding behind our own fear of even a greater guilt and culpability and staying there. And I feel like that culpability is being used again as one more tool to control the American people, so that the profiteering and the other more substantial, the deeper control of the region issues and agenda are given a cover, so that we can continue to stay there from establish a long-term base, long-term control over oil in the region. I can't, in good faith, listen to you ask us again to endure again another try. I think the time has come to pull out. I think that it's hopeless. I think we're not going to solve the problem. And I think that you've been drawn into that, and you're not sounding like the man that I used to vote for.
I don't blame you for being skeptical. You have every reason to be.
How hard do we have to look each time for some scrap of success so that we can then point to that? Out of touch with America.
This is a war of profit. Let's take the profit out of the war. Baird, Halliburton, and all of the when we do, let's turn over the contracts to the Iraqis.
First, on the oil law, which somebody mentioned. The oil law, I think, the initial draft of the oil law was a terrible mistake. My belief of what they ought to do with the oil law is sort of an Alaska kind of model, where you have Iraqis benefit from the oil, so that every Iraqi gets a share of the oil wealth of that country, and they get a check. And so then if somebody or Qatar, you name it, blows up an oil well, then they've taken money out of everybody's pockets.
The people here of the country are being used. When we salute the flag, it says to salute the flag and to the republic for which it stands. It's not the empire. Imperialism is by its nature intrinsically inhuman and evil. And when Eisenhower talked about every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired is in the final sense theft from those who hunger and are not fed. He made that correlation. And what's happening now in the United States of America, they're laying the foundation for fascism is being laid in this country. And we need true leaders with vision, not the people in the White House, not this administration. These people are criminals and should be impeached.
I really want to emphasize the reason we went to this war had nothing to do with fighting terrorism. It still doesn't. Even though now there's a problem with terrorism that we can use as a justification for staying there. And that justification is that justification that you are, in a sense, alluding to, if not repeating. You're not saying the same things. You're more nuanced about it. But that rationale is exactly the rationale that they want people to buy into it if they wanted it all along, so that we can maintain our military forces. And the threat of this bloodbath that you bought into, not wholly, I don't think, but just the fear that it would happen by the people you talk to on the ground. Well, believe me, there's millions of Iraqis that want us out in spite of the fear that things might get worse, because they know that things have gotten worse because we're there. So I just want you to address really what is our vital interest there in staying militarily or otherwise.
Let me ask you, if I may, what do you, I'm not being defensive, I just, seriously, it's a serious question we all have to ponder. What do you envision? Let's suppose we could start tomorrow, and we just withdraw as fast as we can. What do you envision happens on the ground in Iraq, in the short term, in the long term, and what happens in the surrounding region, in the near and long term?
I think it's different from Vietnam. I think it's probably inevitable that things will get worse in the short run. But I have faith. It's an intuitive faith. I don't really know the Iraqi people because I haven't been there and met them and studied their society and culture and history. But I do know that they're like most people in this world. They will straighten things out. It may take them a while now that their country's been destroyed. But they will eventually straighten things out. They have 445,000 people under arms right now that we've helped train. And we've supplied with weapons, and I'm sure we'll continue to do that even if we do pull out. So they'll have the weaponry they need to continue to bolster their state.
Oh, our vital interest. I don't think the vital interest is oil. I don't buy that. I think that the President of the United States on September 12th should have come to the United States people and said, we have a moral responsibility to cut our fuel consumption by 25%. If you're a true patriot, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it in the next week. Right. We've got a national energy policy. I don't buy this notion that we should send our guys over there to die for oil. We can change our behavior and substantially reduce our dependence on oil, and we ought to do it. We ought to do it as fast as possible. Vital interest for me is much different. Vital interest for me is, what does it say about our nation in the eyes of the world if we invade a country, which we did, that had not attacked us, and leave these people to be slaughtered and possibly expand throughout the region. I met with Jordanians, progressive, independent women in Jordan, brilliant, Western educated. I mean, these are sharp people, and they said, sir, you have to understand how concerned those of us who are progressives in the Arab world are about the spreading influence of Iranian theocracy and Sunni extremism as practiced by Al-Qaeda. You must understand this. This is what she said to me. So you go to Jordan and you can say, come on. These are people who have skin in the game. They're not in bloody Olympia, Washington. They are in the region and they are desperately concerned that all the gains that they have tried to make will collapse. That women's rights will be gone. This woman said, every single thing I have worked for myself and my family, a progressive, tolerant, reformist society in Jordan is leading the way. They are adjacent to Iraq and Al Anbar province. And that's where Al-Qaeda is big, and that's the border. And it is I think it is in our best interest to not let that happen. That answers the question. I represent the American people. What I'm trying to say is, if we created the conditions that allow the Middle East to collapse, it will not be in our strategic interest in the long run. Interesting thing happens when you say, please answer the question, and I answer the question and you get yelled at. So